We have some breaking news from the president, who just announced he is repositioning nuclear submarines around Russia in response to what he called inflammatory statements from the former Russian president. Trump just posted, quote, based on the highly provocative statements of the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, who is now the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just words. Words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. He's apparently referring to Medvedev's statements recently criticizing Trump's foreign policy and appearing to reference a nuclear strike. I want to bring in retired Army Colonel Jack Jacobs, MSNBC military analyst. Jack, what signal is Trump trying to send here? What do you make of this back and forth?
Well, we have to remember what probably generated all this from Medvedev in the first place. I mean, first of all, as an aside, the tendency to shoot from the hip, and has done so many times in the past. And this may be one of those times. But what the problem that Russia has at the moment is the crippling results of strictures on their economy as a result of the war in Ukraine and the restrictions the United States and its allies have put on the Russian economy. This makes it extremely difficult for the oligarchs who surround Putin, and that includes Medvedev as well. And so it's not surprising that harsh words are coming from the Kremlin. They don't disavow them, but frequently these words are left to dissipate in the ether and nothing ever comes of them. Trump's response
Jack. Here's my question, because you make such a good point, and the New York Times puts it this way. While Mr. Trump commands the world's most powerful military, Mr. Medvedev is widely seen as a social media attack dog relegated to the periphery of President Putin's inner circle. So why even respond?
Part of it has to do with how Trump responds to anything. He doesn't like to come out to look like he is second best in any exchange, even if the exchange like this one probably has no punch to it. So Trump responds to absolutely everything, and this is one reason why we see the kind of response we get from the president at this time.
Colonel Jack Jacobs, thanks for getting up quickly on this breaking news. Appreciate that so much.
China and Russia are joining hands, launching one of the world's largest joint military drills. And this comes at a time when tensions between the US and Russia, they have increased to heights unseen since the Cold War. Beijing and Washington are locked into a fierce trade war. More in this next report. Take a look.
Missiles launch, destroyers slice through the sea, and fighter jets scream across the sky. This isn't war, not yet. But it's what war would look like if China and Russia fought side by side. And now they're practicing exactly that. Over thousands of troops, dozens of warships, submarines and aircraft from both countries gathered for massive joint military drills in the Sea of Japan, a region bristling with geopolitical tension. The drills include live fire exercises, anti-submarine operations, air defense and simulated amphibious landings. Warships prowled the waves, while jets executed low-altitude formation strikes. Beijing and Moscow say the drills are part of the annual cooperation plan between the two militaries.
Both sides will conduct their 6th joint naval patrol in relevant waters of the Pacific. This is part of the annual cooperation plan between the Chinese and Russian militaries. It is not directed against third parties and is unrelated to the current international or regional situation.
But the optics are obvious. The timing not accidental. These war games come as the US deepens alliances in the Pacific, bolstering Japan, South Korea, the Philippines and Australia in what Beijing sees as a tightening net. Moscow, on the other hand, is locked in a grinding confrontation with NATO over Ukraine. China and Russia, sensing the strategic encirclement, are making their move loudly. The No Limits partnership between China and Russia, announced just before the Ukraine war, only keeps expanding. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
I've already put out a statement, and the answer is they are in the region, yeah, where they have to be.
With nuclear submarines lurking off European shores, missile curbs tossed away in a way, and new nuclear bombs appearing on British soil, the world stands on a precipice. As Washington and Moscow trade threats and amid rapid deployments, the last restraints seem to have snapped. Our next report taking a closer look at how the United States and Russia are now edging into the most dangerous territory seen since the darkest Cold War nights.
The world is entering a dangerous zone. Nuclear submarines are shifting into threat zones and missile ceilings shatter, strategic stability cracks wide open. It began below the waves. President Trump ordered nuclear submarines moved into striking distance following former Russian President Medvedev's nuclear taunts. 2 American submarines moved swiftly in a calculated message to Moscow. Above sea and sky, Russia tore up its unilateral moratorium, announcing it will deploy short and intermediate-range nuclear-capable missiles anywhere it chooses. Moscow says the treaty is long defunct and pointed to similar moves by the West. The US would be new long-range missiles in Germany starting 2026, prompting the Kremlin's ire. Now, for the first time since 2008, American nuclear weapons have landed on UK soil. According to reports, B-61 nuclear bombs have been deployed at RAF Lakenheath atop new F-35A jets. The timing could not be more ominous. As tensions reach fever pitch, Trump's latest statement reveals the gravity of the situation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you still plan to follow through on your threat to impose 100% tariffs on all countries that purchase Russian energy, including China?
Well, I never said a percentage, but we'll be doing quite a bit of that. We'll see what happens over the next fairly short period of time. But we'll see what happens. Yep. Well, we have a meeting with Russia tomorrow. We're going to see what happens. We'll make that determination at that time.
Russia and the US are the world's biggest nuclear powers, holding about 88% of the world's nuclear weapons. They both hold the biggest militaries also. Any confrontation between these 2 superpowers would have devastating consequences. We are one miscalculation, one intercepted communication, one technical malfunction away from witnessing the ultimate failure of human civilization. Bureau Report, We on World is one.
to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app